If only people knew how simple and easy it is to begin living the life of your dreams, then we wouldn't have so many miserable people living lives of quiet desperation. It's so sad when you see people walking on the street or at the store. You could see it on their faces, in their eyes. It's like those memes that you see that say, "Gotta go get this bread." And they're tired and they look like death. You can see that they're living lives that they don't want to live. That they're miserable and suffering and in pain, always worrying. But it doesn't have to be that way. All you have to do is have the desire to change. And I will show you how we may do that as simply and straightforward as we can. You see, people are trapped in a prison, but the gate is wide open. There was this story that I heard from a Hindu teacher, and he talks about how one day a poor man whose job it was to go around and wash people's clothes, he had his donkey and he had all his supplies and things like that. And so he made his trip into town, but he realized that he forgot the rope to tie his donkey. And the way this man was living his life, he didn't have much leeway for these kind of mistakes. To have to travel back home would mean that he would miss out on all these valuable hours. And at the same time, if his donkey ran away, then he would no longer have the means to do his business. And so as he's kind of thinking over what to do, stressing out, he sees a monk walking by. And so he goes and asks him a question. He explains the situation. He says, "Look, I need to wash clothes to feed my family and survive, but I forgot the rope to tie my donkey. Is there anything that you could suggest that I do?" And the monk says, "Well, just pretend like you're tying the rope around the donkey and pretend like you're tying it to a tree. The donkey won't know the difference." And at first the man thought this was silly, but left with no other choice, he decided, okay. And so he pretended to tie the rope around the donkey, around the tree. And surprisingly, the donkey stayed put. As he slowly backed away from the donkey didn't move. And look, I don't exactly know the logistics of this guy's business and how he used his donkey to wash clothes. But the point is that later in the day, after the day was done, he came back to take the donkey home, but the donkey wouldn't move. The donkey still believed that it was tied to the tree. So now the guy begins stressing out a bit more. And so he goes to the monastery to see if he can find the monk. And he asks, "Look, what you said to me earlier, it worked, but now it seems it worked too good. The donkey's not moving. How can I move the donkey?" And the monk says, "Well, just pretend like you're untying the rope. Pretend that you're untying the rope from the donkey and the tree." And he thought, well, okay, if it worked the first time, maybe it'll work in the opposite way. And so he goes, and what do you know? He pretends to untie the knot, the invisible rope, and the donkey begins to freely move along with him. Now, I can't say what the message that the Hindu teacher was trying to convey, but what I can say from my own perspective is that we all have this invisible rope around us that we are a slave to. It's not real. We just believe that it is real, and so it becomes true for us. You believe in the matrix, therefore you have a matrix to be a slave to. You look at your outer environment and you say, wow, I'm broke. I'm struggling, I'm suffering, I'm in pain, I'm angry, people don't like me, or whatever imaginary things you want to think of. And because there is truth in them, we believe in these things. And so we are in co-creation, oftentimes with a reality that is a nightmare. There's a negative feedback loop. All of spirituality, all the teachings, everything comes back to this one point, that is, there was never any rope to begin with. You see, but why most people don't become enlightened is because they believe the rope is there. They've already accepted themselves as slaves to one thing or another. You might say they are too busy worshiping false idols. What it means to break free from the illusion is simply to see clearly, to realize that there are no chains, there are no ropes, there's nothing keeping you a slave. And so the first key to unlocking the life of your dreams comes down to letting go of whatever story you're telling yourself in your head. Your ideas, your beliefs about the world, your perspectives, these are all just things you're choosing to believe in. And that's fine, it's not a problem. But as far as I can tell, all beliefs are limiting beliefs. That doesn't mean we throw away our beliefs. It means we see them for what they are, that is limited. Because as humans, we cannot see the whole truth. So the more we are attached to any particular story, to any particular ideas, we will filter reality through this narrow lens and be blinded from the truth. That is what it means to be caught in illusion, is to have a blindfold on, to have our entire experience of reality to be colored by, let's say, our personality or the identity that we've come to choose or create, which is often the accumulation of all our past experiences, ideas, perspectives. And so we all look at the world in a very unique way. And this is beautiful. This is not a moral judgment that I'm making. What I'm saying is that the construct, the matrix, the rope, the chains that are keeping us a slave are all created by ourselves in the mind. Whatever you believe, that will become true. Just as the donkey believed that it was tied to the tree, the reality manifested as if it were true, but there was never any rope. The rope was self-imposed because of its conditioning. So too, all of our limits are self-imposed by the conditioning of our lives, of the people around us. The only reason that people are not successful in creating a life of their dreams is because they do not believe that it is possible. The moment you believe, anything is possible. Because the belief will sustain you throughout the journey. When the roadblocks and the hard times and the challenges, when these things come to stop you and take you off track, if you have belief, they brush off you. Doesn't mean anything. Because you are already 100% certain of the outcome. It's already happened. We live in an eternal present moment, which means that everything in time is connected here and now. Which means that all the potential yous in the future, your ideal self, your highest potential, it exists here and now. So we have to tap into that by becoming the person we wish to be, who lives the life we wish to have. If you want to be rich, you have to have the mindset of somebody who is in abundance. The moment in your mind you are in abundance, you are already rich. The external facts and information that people choose to pay attention to are absolutely irrelevant. You could be broke $100,000 in debt, but if your mindset is that of a rich person, then it is only a matter of time until your reality begins reflecting this character. But you cannot embody the character that you wish to be if your actions contradict what you want. That is what is called cognitive dissonance, when your mind is saying one thing but your actions and reality is saying another. You see, because a lot of people say they want this, they want that, but you listen to them speak, and if you could hear them think, you would know they don't have a chance. Let's say, for example, if you wish to be rich, you cannot go to the store and complain about a rise in prices. It is not possible. If you wish to complain about how expensive things are, you will remain broke, because that is what broke and poor people do. Do you see why most people don't ever become who they want to become or live the life of their dreams? Because they look at the external circumstances and believe. They say, look, I'm making minimum wage here. I can barely pay rent. $1 rise in gas prices is ruining me. Now I gotta pay a few extra dollars at the grocery store for each item. It's like $200-300 extra a month. That's ridiculous. How am I supposed to live? You can't live on one person's income nowadays. This story in their head, little donkey with a rope around its neck. But an invisible rope, that is. Do you see how real this illusion seems to be? How convincing it is? Because the moment you stop looking outward and look within, that is the moment you begin changing your reality. The more you look to what you call the facts of your life, the evidence. Well, if this so-called evidence is negative, then chances are you will continually have negative emotional reactions to your external circumstances. You will be ruminating on negative thoughts about the fear, the worry, the stress. And you wonder why you suffer and you feel negative and you feel depressed and you feel like you want to die. You can't surround yourself with negativity on all these different levels and expect to live a positive life. And so the most practical way we can begin creating a life of our dreams is to realize the 3 types of action. There is negative action, there is positive action, and there is neutral action. What negative action is, you put in a certain amount of energy into engaging in that action, and the result, the output, gives you a negative net result. So you lose energy. This is what people call sin and wrong action. And so, the more you feed actions that are negative, which may be a negative thought, it may be ruminating on fear and worry and shame and guilt, any kind of negativity that's siphoning your energy. You do this long enough and all the life within you will be stolen. All the life within you will be drained. And when the life within you is drained, what is it replaced with? It's replaced with death. Where life is not, death is. You see, now you understand the road to hell. This is what they meant. It's very simple. Hell is the inevitable result from continuously giving your energy to things that steal it and give you nothing in return. because energy is the life force, and the more you give your life force away, the more you manifest death into your life, destruction. And trust me, if you do this long enough, you will know the definition of hell. And so if your life is a nightmare, it is very critical to begin paying attention to where you are giving your energy, where you are directing it. And it's really as simple as just paying attention, being more aware. You don't need to necessarily start changing things, just watch yourself. Because what we need to do is begin finding where are the energy leakages. Where is our energy going that is causing us to have less? Because the less life force we have, the less ability we will have to create any life of our desire, our choosing. Because this energy, this life force, this consciousness that we are, is the creative force of existence. People who are creative are able to tap into the source of consciousness more easily. And so if you are constantly wasting this energy, giving it away to things that give you no more energy in return, then you will remain a slave. Because the reason the donkey doesn't understand that there is no rope is because it is unconscious, it is unaware, it is an animal. So it is of the highest importance that we become more aware of ourselves, of our life, of our actions, of our thoughts, the way we speak. Because whatever we give our energy to, that is what we create in our life. And the moment you begin reflecting on yourself and reflecting on the environment around you is the moment you understand exactly why your life is the way it is. The outer reality is a perfect mirror to what is within. But however, there can be a lag between the external reality and who you are. Because in this universe, things are heavy, things are slow. It takes time for the outer reality to reflect the inner. And so when you become a new identity, the person you want to become, it may take time for the outer world to reflect that. But you have to be rooted in your belief and understanding that you are already who and where you want to be. To have a feeling of contentment and satisfaction within, because you are already in a state of abundance. Not needing, not in lack. And so the other two types of action, neutral action, self-evident. You put out 1 unit of energy, you get 1 unit back. Most things are probably like this. But if you really wish to speed up the process in which you create the life of your dreams, we must focus on the actions that are the most positive. Which means that for every unit of energy that we put out, we get more in return. And who knows the limits of this? We may put 1 unit of energy out and may get 2 in return, or 5. You see, the fundamental core of this understanding comes down to one fact of our reality, and that is that consciousness is the creative force of existence. To quickly understand the nature of consciousness, one may look at the nature of stars, because stars are the creative force of the universe. But consciousness is not bound by space and time. It is limitless, it is eternal. And that power is within every single human being. It is within every single animal, on every planet, in every galaxy. Which means it doesn't matter what rope you think you have tied around your neck. You have the power within you right now, a power that can never be separated from you to create any life that you desire, regardless of the external circumstances. It is only that you believe that there is a rope around your neck that keeps you a slave. The point I'm trying to make is that in order to create a life of your dreams, we must claim our authority as creators of reality. And to claim our authority, we have to recognize the power that we have. And to recognize the power we have to stop the energy leakages, accumulate, engage in the actions that give us more energy than we put out. And so the more life force we have, the more force of creativity, the more energy we have, the more power we have to create any life of our desire. And so you see why people struggle and why they suffer. It's because they are drained of their energy. They're tired. They don't have it in them to escape. So they become content as slaves. They wish in a way that things would be different, but they are too tired to put the effort in themselves. But the beautiful thing is that it's not about effort. It's about realization. Does it take any effort to see? No. What takes effort is to remove the blindfold. It is simply a habit that we get caught in illusion. Grooves in our brain that say, this is the pattern of behavior that you will follow. And so we must uncondition ourselves. But the only way to do this is to first realize that there is no rope. That we are the creators of our reality. That we have and are the creative force of existence. That this power is within us at this very moment. It is eternal and it can never be separated from us. And that any perception of separation from consciousness or God is merely a reflection of how stuck in illusion we are. That to the degree in which we are not happy, at peace, and in love with life is the degree in which we are a slave. Because the more energy we can cultivate, and the more we can stop the energy leakages, this consciousness, this energy, its very nature is bliss. Its very nature is love. Its very nature is peace. And so now you know the pathway to heaven. It was always this simple. You either focus your energy on what is negative, or you focus it on what is positive. You focus your energy on that which gives you nothing in return, or you give your energy to the things that give you more energy. And the more energy you have, the better you feel. Because the more life force that you have within you, the more you are aligned and harmonious with life, with creation. And the less life force, the less energy, the more you are aligned with death and destruction. And so you manifest it in your life. You feel like death, and therefore the reality around you reflects. Most people are caught in this kind of middle ground. Things aren't really that bad, but they're not really that good. They are lukewarm. That is the most dangerous place to be. Because at least if you are engulfed in the flames of suffering, you have the motivation to change. But if things aren't really that bad, you can be content in that quiet desperation. One secret that may benefit you on this path to creating the life of your desire brings us back to the neutral action, non-duality, not negative or positive. And so what we can experience, we can live this life in a state of non-attached awareness, non-dual awareness, in which we neutralize all experience. So whether something is negative or perceived to be negative or perceived to be positive, it is first neutralized. That is how you stop creating what they call karma. Because think about it this way, a negative experience happens. I have a negative emotional reaction to that experience. Perhaps I have a negative thought about it. That alone, you see the chain of events that now influences my future actions. Now that I've had a negative reaction, a negative thought, I'm reinforcing this negative identity. And so you see why most people are struggling and suffering. It's because they have so many negative experiences and they react negatively to them. They build up a negative identity based off the trauma, based off the conditioning. And so they tell themselves, even in unconscious ways, I am not good enough. I do not deserve these things. I am in a state of lack. That is how people create hell in their lives. But you see, what we can do is that when we develop our awareness through meditation, through mindfulness, we no longer have to react to the things that happen to us, to our experiences. And this is a skill that we develop over time. And so how this might look is that you have your awareness on this side, you have your mind in the middle, your identity, and then you have the experiences. Because we perceive ourselves to be a mind-body complex, let's say, we have this identity, this personality, then whatever we experience it happening to us. We become one with our experiences. So if I experience something negative, then I feel and think accordingly. If there's a positive experience, I think positive, I have good emotions. When we are one with something, our experience reflects the nature of what we are one with. That is why, when people are one with a negative self-identity, they will experience all the suffering that comes with that state of being. But the only reason that this happens is because our awareness, consciousness, has been attached to the mind-body. It has been caught into believing that there is a rope around its neck. Our consciousness becomes a slave to the mind-body because we believe it, and therefore the matrix, the universe, our experiences have jurisdiction because our mind-body exists in the physical reality. Therefore, anything that happens in the physical reality has an effect on the mind-body. So when somebody offends me, when somebody says something offensive to me, I get offended. If I stub my toe, I feel pain and say, I am in pain. If somebody loves me, I say, I am in love. But the moment you remove your identification with the mind-body and remain in a state of awareness as consciousness, all experiences arise and fall without you ever changing. Therefore, your experiences do not affect your future actions because you have not changed. There is no karma. So, if a negative experience arises, well, it's no longer negative because there is no longer any attachment to the mind-body which labels it as negative. That is why this is called non-dual awareness. Negative experience, a positive experience. It's no different than a cloud that's dark and full of rain and one that's fluffy and white. They're both clouds. They're both passing by. Does the sky say that one cloud is bad and the other one is good? But if we are identified with someone with something that has a vested interest in whether or not there is rain, then we will label one as good and one as bad, depending on our relationship to it. Therefore, if we think rain is bad, we will suffer when rain comes. But fundamentally, the main points are that we must recognize that consciousness is the creative force of existence. That consciousness is the eternal force within us that is found in the present moment. That energy, consciousness, life force, creativity, it's all synonymous. That the more we can remain aware, to take our energy away from that which is negative, to stop the energy leakages, to cultivate more consciousness, the greater we will feel and the more power we will have as creators. When we can let go of whatever limiting beliefs and story we have been playing in our minds, we can become free from this invisible rope that has been self-imposed. When we can use our emotions and feelings as a guidance system to recognize what actions are good and what actions are not. This is how we become masters of our energy, because if you feel bad after you do something, if you feel bad after you eat a certain kind of food, if you feel bad after you have a certain kind of thought, a certain action, behavior, experience, well then you know that this thing has a net negative result on your life. Because if it was positive, you would feel better, you would have more energy, you would have more life. But don't forget that you have the power to neutralize all negative experiences by remaining as a non-attached awareness. So fundamentally, it doesn't matter what happens. Of course, it matters to our mind-body, to our personality, our personal identity. It, however, does not matter to consciousness, to awareness. So when we begin taking our energy away from that which is negative, neutralizing it, then giving it to what is positive, to remain grateful, to remain in abundance, to focus on cultivating positive and good emotions, to feeling good about being alive. These are the keys to reality creation. And these are things that are available to everybody. What I have spoken about is not only for the select few. Does it take any effort to become more aware of yourself? It may take effort to stop the habits and the self-destructive behavior, but it doesn't take any effort to recognize that your energy is being siphoned by certain behaviors, by certain thoughts. Simply with awareness, you can begin the process of change. It's not about changing overnight, but you cannot change without recognizing. And so I would say perhaps the last key to reality creation and manifestation is to always return to the present moment. Because the present moment is where you have direct access to consciousness, the creative force of existence. The more you are stuck in the past, the more you are stuck in the future, you will be more separated from consciousness. So in this present moment, we may visualize the person we want to become, the life we want to live. We believe with 100% certainty and assume that this will at some point unfold, because we understand our power as a creator, we understand consciousness as the creative force of existence, so that whatever information is between the source of consciousness and the external world, that is what we will manifest in our reality. Consciousness is being filtered through our mind. And so whatever is filtering consciousness, that is what will be projected onto the external world. So if you want to create the life of your dreams, you put in your mind what you think about on a daily basis. You create a new story that is favorable to you, that you want to experience, who you want to become. But rather than wishing and hoping for a better future, one must assume the feeling in the moment. You must become the person. You must change your identity. And one can do this by pairing visualizations, patterns, images and thoughts with strong emotions. Because that is how the body and the mind communicate. The mind receives input as images and patterns. The body receives input as, let's say, electrical impulses that cause biochemical reactions that manifest as emotions. And so, if we visualize the identity of who we want to become, and we feel as though that this person is who we already are, then our body will begin believing we will become this new identity. And then in time, our outer reality will begin reflecting our new inner reality. Another way to create our reality is simply by grinding. It's by engaging in the actions in which your ideal self would engage in. Having the habits that lead to your ideal life. And so if you wish to be the most powerful kind of creator, you cultivate a story that you want to live, that you want to experience, and you resonate in that story day after day. You just focus your energy on it, you focus your attention on it, and what you give your energy to, that is what you give life to, that is what you manifest. Because again, consciousness is the creative force of existence, so what you give your consciousness to, that is what you will create. Creation does not happen without energy. And so, you become the person you want to be from within first. And with thoughts, oftentimes our thoughts will produce emotional reactions that reflect the nature of our thoughts. And so the more we can resonate in thoughts that are favorable to us, that reflect the story that we want to live in, the more positive emotions we will feel, and the more we will become in harmony with this ideal story, this dream life. And what you will find is that the more in harmony you become with your ideal, the more your mind begins to focus on different things. In the external reality, new opportunities will appear to you in which you never saw before. And so now one can begin working hard in the right direction, putting more and more effort, more and more action into becoming the person you want to be. This is the quickest way to reality creation. Not just by grinding and working hard and trying to be disciplined, but also through visualization, through cultivating the story that you want to believe in, to letting go of all the things that do not serve you, by being very careful of your energy and where you direct it. And this all begins simply by being more aware. They say what you measure, you can manage. And perhaps you can see why most people live lives of suffering, because they do not know themselves. They are in a constant flow of reacting to things. Something happens, I react to it, I'm pulled in that direction. A thought comes, I react to it, I'm pulled in the direction of the thought. An emotion arises, I react to it, I am pulled in the direction of the emotion. So throughout people's whole lives, they're pulled all over the place. Therefore, they are slaves. Their life is not of their choosing. The emotions tell them where to go. The thoughts tell them where to go. Other people tell them where to go. Their environment dictates who they are. That is no way to live. That is not life. It is a poor excuse of a life. Life was meant to be played in a state in which you are free, when you have power to be a creator of your reality, to live the life that you want to live without having really any limitations. Who knows what the limits of human potential are? We are only limited by our current belief system. If you found out tomorrow that people have the ability to move things with their minds, your entire understanding of reality would change in an instant. But so far, because of our current beliefs, we assume, well, that's just not possible. Just because there has been no recorded evidence that people can fly doesn't mean that it's not possible. And so you see how stuck we can be in our own ways. Because the first instinctual response to what I just said is, well, that sounds like absolute nonsense. Do you not know gravity? Do you not understand the laws of physics? A human being cannot fly. Is it possible to escape that paradigm of reality in which we believe that these things are not possible? For most of us, this is just like a hard no. It's not possible, it's not possible, it's not possible. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, I say to you, all it takes is one moment to change your entire understanding of the nature of reality. The majority of everything is unknown to us. So rather than place limitations on yourself of what you can achieve, of what kind of dream life you can have, let God, let the universe decide that for you. Don't place limits upon yourself. Strive for the highest thing you could possibly imagine. You can have any life that you desire, but you must believe. Be free from the invisible rope. Don't be so stuck in the story that you are currently in, because you have the power to write a better one, to create a new character, a character of your choosing. You have this absolute freedom at this very moment. The only thing holding you back is that you believe there is a rope around your neck.